So now that we know how to do the addition and subtraction and determining how many significant figures, we now need to look at multiplication and division. So with multiplication and division, you are going to round your answers to the same number of significant figures as the measurement with the least number of significant figures. So just to remind you and to clarify, the decimal point has nothing to do with rounding process when you are multiplying and dividing, only in addition and subtraction. So let's give A a shot here. A is going to take 7.55 meters and multiply by 0.34 meters. Okay, so you take first you do your multiplication just as you would any other time. So I'm going to use a calculator on this one. So 7.55 times 0.34 is equal to 2.567. Now we will take that number and determine how many significant figures we can keep. Since we are only allowed to keep the number of significant figures as the least significant number, we have to figure out which one that is. So in our first number, we have 3 sig figs, 7, 5, and 5 are all significant, whereas in our decimal point, only the 1 and the 2, or the 3 and the 4 are significant. This 0 is again just a placeholder. So this number is the one in which we are determines the number of significant figures we can keep. Since 0.34 has 2 significant figures, I can only keep 2 numbers from our answer. We still round, so we're going to look to the right at our number 6. Since it's 5 or greater, we are able to round up in this instance, and we get 2.6 meters. Let's try the next one. So our next one, we have 2.10 times 0.70. So again, we are going to multiply just like normal. So 2.1 times 0.70 is equal to 1.47. Again, we have to determine which one has the fewest significant figures. So in the number on the left, according to our rules, 1 and 2 are going to be significant, and this last 0 is also significant because it is at the end of a decimal. The same can be said for 0.70, except there are only 2 significant figures. So once again, we're taking our bigger number, choosing our first 2 numbers, looking at our 7 to the right, and since it's 5 or greater, it's going to cause that 4 to increase by 1, giving us our answer of 1.5. Now let's try division. In division, the same rules apply. So our next question is 2.4526 divided by 8.4. Again, I'm just going to use the calculator because you want to use all the numbers at first and then count down how many significant figures you want. So when you divide this out, you get the answer of 0.2919769. That is obviously way too many numbers. So we have to determine how many we get to keep. In our numerator, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 significant figures. We know this because all of those are non-zero digits. In our denominator, we only have 2. So of this whole number, we can only choose to keep 2 numbers. So we start at the left. This 0 again is just a placeholder. So we have 1, 2. Those are the numbers we are going to get to keep. We look to the right, and this 1 is less than 5, therefore it does not round up. So our final answer is 0.29, and all the rest of the numbers are going to fall off. Last but not least, let's look at one more just to make sure. So we have 0.365 divided by 0.02. Go ahead and divide that in your calculator now, and you should get something along the lines of 18.25. Okay, so let's count our significant figures because we can only keep the number with the fewest amount of significant figures. So our numerator, this guy is not significant. It is just a placeholder. However, the three that are non-zeros all are counting. Now the bottom one's a little trickier. Both of these zeros also do not count. They are simply placeholders. And if you need to check, turn this into scientific notation, and those zeros will disappear. However, you get this 2, which is our single only significant figure. So of these 4 numbers, we can only keep the number 1. So we're going to look to the right. It's 5 or higher, so it's going to round that up. And therefore, we're going to make that a 2. However, the tricky part is you have to keep the same magnitude. So whenever the rest of these fall off, you have to put a 0 in order to keep our number in the tens spot. So our overall answer would be 20. Okay, so at the end, or in your PowerPoint, you have all of these worked out as well. And at the very end, you also have some great information for vocab words. So we'll have more practice on this in class. I'll see you tomorrow.